All right, we're going live. We are live. All righty. Let's do this thing. So super excited for today's lifestyle class with one of the most incredible humans that I have met in the last 6 years, and probably one of the most incredible souls I've met in my life. Miss Aileen was recommended to me to a great friend and family friends about 6 years ago, and as a family therapist at the time, I was really recommended me to her. So when I met her, there was just so much more there, and just so much insights and connection with something bigger, with something higher, and I just absolutely fell in love with who she was and her work. And any friends of mine that have I really would love someone to speak to you about anything they don't have to work with you personally, relationally, and go see Aileen. You go see Aileen. It's just incredible. The heart, and I think there's something very special. You can really be connected with what's happening. And I could feel right away where it wasn't just going through the motions or asking the questions you were taught in school to ask, or as a psychologist, but just really diving in, and there's something really beautiful there. So I'd love for you to share kind of your background of where you started this journey, and now as Ascension mentor and doing these beautiful things. I love your Ascension letters. They come out every week, and we'll post that on here for anyone who wants to join your email list, because you guys will get just absolutely incredible insight. But if you could walk us a little bit through your journey from when you started this process, and then the last couple of years where I know there's been a lot of transition, that would be awesome.
Well, Kathy, first of all, thank you so much for that introduction. I'm really so blessed and pleased to be today. One of the things that I want your audience to take from today that is going to be very empowering, I believe, is that we're always in transition. And it's how we decide that we're going to take that role. If we're going to go into fear, or if we're going to decide that we're going to do it with excitement and thrill and opportunity. And so for me, it was really one day a few years back when I realized that there had to be more to my life than being a family therapist. I love my job. I was passionately in love with serving people and helping families and helping individuals, couples primarily, and even children at times. But I felt that it was how many clients can you possibly see a week? 50, 55. My client base was so crazy that I had lost myself in being a therapist, being the mom, being the wife. And I realized, where's Aileen? Where am I? And that's what would keep me up at night. And I would wake up in the morning wondering, okay, so I've got all this, right? And I did everything the way that, according to plan and according to everybody else's expectations of me, but there had to be more. And my job, my role as a transitions coach was something that for some people was, wow, you're gonna leave the therapy world and all that you have created to become a transitions coach? What's wrong with you? But I had to follow my heart. I had to follow my calling and realize that I could serve 50, 55 clients a week, but I could serve masses of people going on webinars, doing online programs, speaking, doing groups. And so I decided that it was time for me to go through my own transition. And so I did. And so I left the marriage of 37 years because I realized that had me stuck and blocked in many ways. And I don't blame him. It was all my fault for allowing myself to be caught up in that. But imagine, I was a therapist helping couples and helping families. And here I was going through my own stuff. And I hadn't even given myself the opportunity to step back and say, wow, I've got to do something more for me, and it's okay to do something more for me. And so when I left the marriage, I also left the license of being a marriage and family therapist, because there's so many restraints with that. There's all these confidentiality clauses. And so imagine I see a beautiful soul, somebody that I work with in an office, and we've grown together and I've helped them, and I could see them in the mall and I can't say hello. And that was something that was so impactful, especially when it was children. They would come, especially teenagers, they see you and you're like that cool therapist that they get to unload on. And then I see them at the mall or at a restaurant and I have to pretend that I didn't see them because of this law or this confidentiality rule that they could sue me if somebody realized. So it was just crazy. And so I decided that in my own transition, I was going to help people transition. And so that's what I do today. I transition people to stepping into their purpose, and to step into their purpose with success, and more than anything with excitement and thrill. Really releasing all of that anxiety, all those fears, right, that caught up in our heart that block us. Because at the same time, in doing the energy work and the energy healing work that I do, I understand that the heart is where we offer and we serve, but then it's also where we receive. And so if that's blocked because you're not happy in your own situation, then there's a block, and there's a ceiling as to how much you can receive. So just a lot of work, a lot of excitement. That really, I'm excited and thrilled to be here with you today.
So excited to have you. And by the way, I mean, just there, I'm like, I hope anyone who's listening, you guys are really to shift perspective, because I think that that's something that you do so beautifully, with people, for people, like in this world, where you're really able to see different perspectives and really help people shed, just certain blockage that they had, or layers that they've had that they didn't even know, like how deep they could go, and being able to shed some of those outside layers to really get to the core of who they are, and what's possible for them. And I absolutely love that. So for you, going into the ascension as an ascension coach, where did that root from? How did you, what pulled you towards that? And going into the high vibrational life, and if you can expand a little more on that, because I know there's a shift from family therapy to really doing that energy work, and just what was the process there, and just for people to understand the differences with just seeing a therapist or doing this or those deeper levels. If you could talk a little bit towards that, that'd be awesome.
I understood as a therapist that there was a cap as to how much I could help people. And I started to realize that we're not just our thoughts and our emotions, that we're also energy, right? Because energy is everywhere. And if we all hold energy, and our thoughts hold energy, our words hold energy, we're made of energy, then there has to be a vibration and a frequency to that energy. And so I started experimenting with crystals and bringing crystals into the therapeutic world. And meditation is something that I swear by. I wake up with meditation, and I go to sleep with a meditation, and I teach my clients to do the same, not only to silence our mind and to relax, but also to set intention. When we can set intention, when our mind is in that space of relaxation, we're tapping into our subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is usually that tricky mind that continues to pull us into the past. So it takes us into thinking or wanting to be who we used to be, or to have those same experiences that we used to have. So it's breaking those patterns and that thought process. And so I understood that the more I helped clients to do that, the more I did that for myself, the better I felt. And so I began to understand that while I was not only doing better emotionally, my mind was more at ease and more at peace, my energy began to shift, Kathy. And my energy shifting into this higher vibration and this light, I could serve from that place. And the more I was there, obviously I didn't want to leave. It's like being in this beautiful penthouse. Who wants to go to the basement, right? We don't even want to throw our trash away in the basement. We want somebody to just come and pick it up. And that's what it was. It was being in this beautiful space of just nothingness, just being in a place of awe, peace, where I could write my books, where I could be inspired, where I could connect to wisdom. And so that's what I teach, is if you're experiencing your life and you believe that there's something more for you, and that you have had these spurts from time to time of feeling this elation and feeling like life is great, the work is really in how do you keep it. And so that's where I created my system, a sacred surrender method, where people get to understand that by doing the work, they get to step into being on purpose, living a life based on passion and joy. And that's what the high vibrational life is all about. And some people ask me, well, is that the opposite of depression? Is that the opposite of anxiety? And it really isn't the opposite of anything. It's really an internal decision that we make with intention that we want to live through our best possible reality, through our best possible part of ourselves. And so it's really a decision, and we all have it in us. There's not one person that I have worked with that could not get into a high vibration or could not maintain a high vibration, because it's really our innate, like you said earlier, it's our core. It's our inner essence, is who we are. We didn't come here to live a life, suffer, sacrifice, and die. We came to live a life fruitful and joyful, and we get to create that. And so on that note of the high vibrational life and helping people in their ascension process, which is raising their vibration and maintaining that vibration, 2019 is a very powerful year to do that, because in numerology, the number 2, 1, and 9, when you add them, it's a 12, which is actually a 3. So we're in a 3 year. And the number 3 is all about recreating yourself. It's about creation and creativity. So it's a beautiful opportunity when the universe is aligned with us to actually step into creating this life with our new reality, right? Just because things used to be a certain way doesn't mean that they have to be that way anymore. Because if we're in the conscious mind and we're mindful of everything that we're doing, and we are diligent every day, just writing little blurbs on our journal perhaps of how great we feel. One thing that I love to do, which I learned from a beautiful coach of mine, Nina Shaw, is to put powerful words on our mirrors. You know, you're awesome, you're great, you're beautiful, and to write it with erasable markers. Some people do it with lipstick, but I mean, you just do it however it feels good for you. But it's creating this space, even at home, setting a place in your home, an environment that you feel good. That's all about high vibration. That is where you have created a space based on your character, based on your essence, based on what you love. So there's an aroma that you love, bring it into your home. For me, it's lavender. I don't like vanilla, so I don't buy vanilla because it's not going to make me feel good. And so we do things like that. But again, the most powerful thing of all of this in the high vibrational life and living a life of high vibration is setting intention. Setting intention, because intention is also connected to our actions. When we intend something, our thoughts and our emotions are in it, and then we base it on the actions that we take, right? So everything requires action. And so it's a deliberate intention and action that we get to create to being in this high vibrational life, which is, it's free, it's beautiful because it belongs to all of us. It was placed here by God, by source, by the universe, for us to have it and enjoy it. So why not, right? It's already there. It's just a matter of tweaking a few things here and there to make it happen.
Love it. Love. So much stuff. I'm like writing notes over here. I love listening to you share and speak, and just like how it pours out of your soul. I do want to say that I feel like you really, have tapped in, and that's something that's exciting, and why I wanted to have you here so people could see like, what's possible, because you've really tapped into that higher power and really knowing that your creator, created you for so much more, right? And I love how you share the penthouse basement, because it's such a great image that depicts how because people really just want to hold on to their garbage, and they're like sleeping in the garbage dump in the bottom, and they're just like, well, I have all this garbage. Like, well, then let it go. Like, you don't need to stay and sleep with it. Like, you can be up there. You can be in that penthouse. You can be enjoying like your life and not in this smelly, yucky place and like hating your life. You have access to that. Get in the freaking elevator and go up, And I love that. And, you said, and I just laughed because so many people live like this. It's like, we're not here to sacrifice, suffer, and die, like we're here to live. And that's something I know I'm super passionate about, helping people live a life they love. Like, what does that look like? Who do you need to be? What is it that you want to do while you're here in this time, right? This time around on this earth, like, what is it that excites you that you can pour energy into and be at those high vibrations? And you also mentioned intention. And I mean, oh my gosh, so huge. Like, so many people take what comes. And I say they're kind of collectors versus creators of their destiny. And it's like, you have an opportunity to create anything you want, understanding that if you set intentions and your mind knows where it wants to go, your subconscious mind is like a GPS. And I always talk about that. And it's like, it knows like that's the destination, that's where we're going when you set the intention. And so even when you have roadblocks or an accident or whatever, it's going to reroute if it knows where it needs to go. But so many people just kind of like let traffic take them wherever and never get anywhere. And they feel like, oh, I never did anything, you know? So I think that's so beautiful. And I love the numerical, like, I don't know anything about like numerology and astrology, but I'm fascinated by it. So I just listen to you and you're like, it's the year for creating. I'm like, beautiful, on it. It's great. So as far as somebody who says, okay, like, I want to live higher vibrations, like, let's start simple, small. What are some basic things? I know you mentioned meditation, but what are some basic practices that somebody can start incorporating now to start shifting, you know, where their energy is and really tapping into higher levels of where they can be?
One thing that I always encourage my clients is to introduce meditation, even if it's 5 minutes of breathing, whether you inhale through your nose and release through your mouth, or you inhale through your nose and release through your nose. It's really important to be caught up in that space and in that moment that we're sacred, right? And that's why the sacred surrender, it was so powerful for me to use that name. And it was actually something that was downloaded in one of my meditations, is the power of understanding that we are sacred souls, that we're all spiritual and have a spiritual connection to us. And when life happens to us, Kathy, not for us, when life is happening to us, we disconnect from our spirituality. We disconnect from being that best version of ourselves that we can be, because we're just we're just going, chasing. And so when we stop and we give ourselves 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes before we go to sleep, to just breathe and just be consciously aware that we're breathing, and that breath that we have today is a gift. And that breath is with us today. We're still alive and breathing because we have a purpose. If you're breathing out there, it's because you have a purpose. There's something bigger and better for you to do. And every day we're growing. I don't believe that this is it for me. I know that this is just the beginning of something so much greater. And so it's really being open to everything, all the opportunities that spill into your life, like you said earlier, and it was so nicely put, is that we're not going to be just waiting for everything to just happen, or we're just going to go where traffic takes us, right? We're going to be intentional. We're going to decide that we deserve better, we want better, and we can ask God, the universe, the light source, however you depict that greater power. Ask for what it is that you want. Don't be afraid. It's okay to ask for money. It's okay to ask for freedom. It's okay to ask for a beautiful, loving, romantic partner. It's okay to ask to have kids that you get to grow and create memories with. All of those things are beautiful, but so many times we're so caught up in our heads of not wanting to ask. And so the breath work is very important. So the meditation is very important, taking a few minutes for yourself. Another thing that I do often that has helped me heal through all of this is dancing. Why? Because I love dancing. I love music. I love dancing. So I play music that fills me, that fills my soul, that makes me feel good. Nothing depressing and dreary that's, oh my goodness, I'm dying, like how horrible, what happened to me, right? So we're not in victim consciousness, right? We don't want to be in victim consciousness, because high vibrational life and high vibration means that you're in a higher consciousness. And higher consciousness is never victim consciousness. And so watch what your thoughts are doing. If they're taking you to this place where you're saying, oh my God, I'm terrible, I'm such a horrible mom, I'm a terrible wife, I'm a terrible employee, I'm gonna fail in my business, then you've got to go back and watch out for the words that you're using, because you are creating from that space. And so when we want greatness, we've got to be talking with greatness. We've got to be talking with words that make us feel good, and words that help elevate the people around us. So our language is also very important. And these are 3 steps that I would begin to encourage: is your self-talk, what your thoughts are doing, how you're creating the space in your home, what feels good. The aromas are important. Smells are always very, because we're tapping into all of our senses, right? What we see, what we hear, what we feel, what we smell, what we touch. And another thing that I always encourage clients is to do salt baths every once in a while, because salt is a way of balancing our energy, and it helps us just to do a salt. Usually sea salt is recommended, but you could use kosher salt, Himalayan salt, Epsom salt. But again, the intention, I am scrubbing my body today from anything negative, anything dirty, any energy that isn't mine, that doesn't feel good, so that I can re-energize and I could fill myself with soap or a body wash that you enjoy. These are just simple things that we probably have all these products in our home and we're just not using it with intention. So it's very important for your viewers, for everybody who's listening, to understand that just setting those intentions every day, I'm going to have an amazing day. I woke up today, thank you for this breath, because I know that there's something big for me today, just today. And it's important not to get caught up in the past, right? The past happened and it's not here. We can't change it, we can't fix it, and we can't dwell on it. And the future a lot of time causes anxiety because we're so caught up in 5 years from now, 5 years. No, we don't have 5 years. We don't know if we're going to have 5 years, but we do have now. So what are we going to do today? And so I think that if they start to apply some of this, I know that they're going to have greatness start to show up in their life. I know that they're going to begin to step into them being a high vibration, so that they can also begin to live a high vibrational life and enjoy, like you said in your book, to create that life that you love, right? To have that creation of what it is that you want more of. So what you don't want begins to wash away and that stays in the basement. We're going to put it back in the basement with the trash.
Get it out. I love it. I love it. I love it. And something I actually love your insight on this. You mentioned, and I was sharing with a group of people this past weekend at a conference. I said, I used to be that person when I was younger. I felt bad asking for what I wanted because the association was that if I asked for more, it was that I wasn't grateful for what I had, or I was being like really selfish. So I know I'm not the only person who's felt that way out there. How do you speak to that when somebody's like, I feel bad asking for more, like I have enough, like I'm good, I have enough. And where's that balance of them really feeling grateful for what they have, or feeling like, is it bad to want more? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, that goes back into, are we saying yes or are we saying no to ourselves? Because a lot of times when we're saying no to ourselves because we have to say yes to everybody else, which is how we started a little while ago, this talk, is when we said yes to everybody else, we lost ourselves, right? Because we're saying no, 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 no. Well, in order for us to feel successful in whatever it is that is going on in our life, we've got to ask for what we want. Because when that shows up, and when we have, for example, money, I know that a lot of people have a lot of guilt around a lot of money stories of their childhood. And so if we're not asking for money, for example, for you and myself, we're creating, we're entrepreneurs, we're writing. If our money situation is not good and it's not handled in a positive way, we don't have the thought process, or we don't create space to be able to write from richness and feeling good and feeling pure and feeling enlightened and inspiring. At that point, we're writing from scarcity. So it is very important for us to decide that if we want to live in abundance, and it doesn't have to be money, it could be abundance in a beautiful relationship, then we get to ask our partners, we get to let them know, listen, I need more of this from you, because when you give that to me, I feel better, and then I want to give more to you. So if your partner's asking to make them breakfast, and now you wake up and you make breakfast and you don't feel resentful that you're making breakfast, they're going to want to do something to serve you as well. So the more in abundance we're in, the more not only can we serve from a better place, but we're going to be served from a better place. And so that exchange is constantly happening. And so it is important if we want to, another point that I'm going to make, Kathy, because this happens with a lot of people also, is they'll place an order to the universe. Okay, so I'm dying for this job, this great position, I applied for it, and I can't wait to have it. And they're going to ask the universe for it every single day. Well, my job isn't here. How come I don't have it yet? Well, I asked for a job. It didn't show up. I don't believe in this. Well, it's like when you place an order to the universe, it's the same thing as placing an order through a catalog or making a phone order, right? If you made a phone order or you made an order on Amazon, you're not going to call them every day to find out where your order is. You're going to surrender and you're going to allow the process that if that is something that is aligning with you and it flows, it's going to show up. And having that certainty is where I believe that people struggle a lot of times. Is having that knowing that I placed the order, that's it. I'm not going to call Amazon. I know it's going to show up. And if that one doesn't show up, it's because there's a better one. And so how many times do we ask for something and we look a year later and say, wow, like I asked for that last year and I asked for it this way, but it showed up this way. And it's so much bigger and better for us. But again, we've got to allow the process to happen. So being patient, flexible, surrendering are all very important for us to be able to open ourselves to receive and not feel guilty when we're asking. When we're asking, it's because we have the right to ask, because we have the right to receive. It's our birthright.
Awesome. Well, I hope anyone watching this or watching the replay is taking as many notes as I am, because I'm on my page 3. But just so much wisdom, so many nuggets here that I absolutely love. They're just such great reminders always, and I love, with you saying about, music and things that fill your soul, but it's so important to identify those things that really, make you happy, like those things that really make you come alive, and do more of those things, and use those things to refuel yourself. I have a question from someone who's watching about salt baths, and they had just asked, like, what is it about salt that helps you? If you could answer that question for them.
Well, salt is a balance. I mean, that's why that salt is an ionizer. So we use salt lamps. A lot of times the ocean is very relaxing for many. And so what happens is when we're scrubbing our body with salt or using salt, we're cleaning out the debris, the residue that is left from energy that doesn't make us feel good. So when we use the salt, we're balancing the energy within our field. So we have our aura, and then we have our energy field, right? So if we look, and it's all the way around, it's like a capsule. And then we have our magnetic field. Our magnetic field magnetizes to us what we deserve, what is good for us. And it also repels what isn't good for us. So if we're not using salt from time to time to create that balance, we're constantly picking up residue from energies around us, whether you're in a good space or a bad, just by going to the grocery store, going to work. Sometimes we've got people around us that are very toxic. And so salt helps to balance those toxins and releases them and washes them away so that we can be more in our own energy and not so filled with other people's energy. So if you throw the salt in a bath, you could do it that way. Another way of doing it is to do a scrub. And so you pour a little bit of it could be shower gel, oils, and the salt, and just kind of make a scrub. And then from your neck down, just soothe yourself. And again, making it a soothing intention that you're just cleaning. So it's about deciding that you don't want to carry around that residue, that debris, that dirty energy within your field. So it's really cleaning your field, and your magnetic field is, again, what helps you attract what is good for you.
Awesome. Yeah. So there's a lot of people, and I know that I was there at a certain point of all the woo-woo stuff, they call it, or, they're like, we had, even last week, one of the, my new friends in a women's mastermind I'm a part of, she mentioned, she's like, I like very open and wants to learn about this stuff. I grew up in the Midwest. She's like, I've never heard any of this stuff. No one talks like this. So if somebody is curious, right, they're listening, they've heard you speak, for these last 20, 30 minutes, and they're like, man, I want to know more about this. Like, I don't get it. The whole high vibration thing, the whole energy and salt, never really, to me, that was like some like hippie thing but I want to learn more. At the same time, not be overwhelmed with something that's so out of like there. Is there a book? Is there something you recommend to start learning like at a very basic level? Not just what's out, but like really, I guess with like some kind of factual, like this is this and this is why this is, and where someone could start learning. Are there any books you recommend?
I don't know about any books, Kathy, because I agree with you. Remember, I came from the psychology world. So to me, bringing all of this had to make sense, right? And it had to be something that I applied for myself, and I saw the shift and I felt the shift. And so I began to teach it from that place. I am putting on my website, we are setting up webinars to begin to teach on the salt baths, begin to have information on the different crystals. So more than anything, just like a very basic, because again, it's not about being obsessed with this or becoming fanatical, but more than anything, I will be putting a lot of information to describe it, to show how to do this, and also how to apply it in your day-to-day life. And so people can pick and choose what is going to work for them, so that it's not like, oh, this is what you have to do. Even when we talk about crystals, the crystals, there's so many, there's hundreds of thousands of crystals, and they come from nature. But my crystals may mean something for me. And I know when we go to a crystal shop, a lot of times they'll have what they're for, and that's beautiful and it's great because they have an intention that they come with. But for example, a purple amethyst for me may not be something that I necessarily use to feel inspired or to have clearer thoughts. I may use it to help heal my heart because I feel that balance in my heart. So again, all this information will be taught. I'm putting together the webinars, the workshops. I invite your guests to come on my website so that you have all that information coming up. But as we speak, we're putting all this together. Actually, I'm holding a crystals meditation, healing meditation workshop next Wednesday, the 30th here in Miami. So again, it's just helping to create awareness, but it's not to scare anybody. On the contrary, it's to teach them to understand the concept behind it also. Again, I'm a teacher and I love to teach. So it is important that it makes sense for everybody who's using it. Because if not, then it doesn't resonate with you. It doesn't resonate with them, and it's okay. But there's so many different techniques and modalities and so many different things that they could begin to use that doesn't necessarily come from the crystals world or using the salt baths. These are just recommendations for now. And other, like I said, there's other modalities that will be introduced to them as well. Yeah,
right.
That's a great question.
That's awesome. And that's what I was going to ask too, where people can find you. So we'll post your website, but if you can, best ways to stay in touch with you. I know that you also have a live stream that goes every Saturday morning.
Yes.
You go live as well, and people can catch you on live. People can check your website. I'd love to be able to connect more people with you. So what are the best ways to get a hold of you? And then I will ask my last and final question, which is, what does it mean to you to live elevated? Which I know you've already talked a lot about, but that's our final question on the show. So how can we get in touch with you? Any final words you want to say? And then what does it mean to live elevated?
Okay, so they can find me on aileenc.com is the website, and all of my social media is under Aileen C and Aileen Castellano, Castellano. So that's the best way.
Aileen is with an A. Aileen.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, as you bring that up, Kathy, it's something that happened to me a few years back, which I'll leave you all with this message, is I was in a meditation, a very deep meditation, and they kept telling me I had to use my name to understand who I am and what I'm here to do. And, it's Aileen, so it's like, I'm thinking alien, and they were like, no, not really. And so what they came up with was being all in. And so I'm all in Aileen. And so I teach people to be all in. And the message that I would love for your viewers today is that whatever you're going to do to raise your vibration, to be the best version that you can be, is to be all in. And that's really what I had to do, is decide that there were things that I had to let go of that were very difficult to do. I sold my house. Like I said, I got the divorce. I closed my office as a family therapist. There were a lot of things that could create a lot of anxiety and fear.
Yeah.
But I had decided that my calling for the universe and to help humanity to teach from this level was so much more valuable and important to me that I had to be all in order to do it. And so if you're all out there trying or wanting to do something, decide that it will only work for you and you will only step into that high vibration and feeling elevated and amazing about yourself and your life when you're all in. When you decide, you know what, I'm gonna invest myself to be that person in the marriage, as a mom, in my career, my business, because from there, everything shows up. The angels show up, the earth angels show up to help you, the opportunities are there, the money flows right in, all of it begins to just show up for you because you're already in alignment with your purpose, which is to serve the universe. That's what we're all here to do, is to help and grow and raise the consciousness of humanity.
Love it. I love it. I'm so thankful for you taking time. I know you've got a million things to be doing, and I appreciate you pausing your day to continue with your purpose of just giving to the world. And I'm excited for anyone watching this, share, tag people, start educating, because there is so much more. And as I've seen through the years, as you start tapping into that higher power, that higher you, that higher level of you, yes, and really understanding, oh my gosh, I'm not supposed to be down here. I'm supposed to be up here, and knowing the process of how to get there. And I know, like I said, Eileen's been a coach of mine over the past 6 years, and different friends of mine that I've recommended to her. I recommend her 1000% to anybody out there who's looking for just somebody, a beautiful coach, to really help them ascend into what they were made to be. So thank you again so much, Aileen. I will talk with you soon. So yes, all in Aileen.
Blessing.
I love
so
it.
grateful to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great day.